Oregon State and Washington State are two teams that probably get really overlooked in the Pac-12, but these are two undefeated ranked opponents going against each other in week 4. And when you look at their offenses combined with their defenses, you're looking at two teams that can score a lot. They just score differently. And then two defenses that look drastically different in terms of their efficiency, slowing down the opposing offense. And that's an exciting matchup. I think Oregon State is in great hands with Jonathan Smith. And I think Washington State is on track to potentially do something great. And we'll talk about their team a little bit more in depth when we talk about the quarterbacks. This QB1 showdown is one of the most underrated in college football. DJ Uiagalelei is having a solid season with the Oregon State Beavers. I think the transfer decision that he made was the best thing for him. And now they get their first big test against another Pac-12 opponent. I think that Washington State provides plenty of challenges for DJ, and he goes against a quarterback in Cam Ward that could be a first round talent if he continues at this pace. Cam Ward is electric with the football in his hands, and he's able to get the ball to his playmakers as frequently as he wants. They are allowing him to make plays with his arm. They're allowing him to make more decisions. Now he has a full year of experience under his belt in the system, and that's really exciting. That goes to the pressure we'll talk about, goes on the quarterbacks, but it also goes on these defenses. Now, Oregon State has the better defense. They have been able to slow down the opposing offenses. They are disruptive. They have a number of playmakers that are able to make big plays and slow down what every offense will do. Washington State provides a different challenge that they have not seen yet, and that is something to keep an eye on. Oregon State's only allowing 11 points per game. Washington State sits at 22.3, so they're giving up a little bit more. And with how Oregon State likes to move the ball, they like to be efficient, pound the rock. They're not going to try and score at a blistering pace, even though they're averaging 41 a game. They are trying to be efficient with the football. They are trying to break you down slowly over time, and Washington State wants to get in the end zone as quickly as possible. Whichever one of those defenses can step up and slow down the opposing offense or step up and create turnovers, that will be the biggest thing. The defenses really need to do their job because both offenses can get the job done in different ways. For Washington State, you have to be able to protect Cam Ward. Speaking of that Oregon State defense, Oregon State's defense has 12 sacks this year, which is pretty good. 7 sacks allowed for Washington State, which isn't terrible, but it's not a good pace if they want to win this game. And when you're playing an Oregon State team that arguably has the best front seven that Washington State will face, that provides plenty of challenges for Cam Ward and this offense. If Cam cannot feel comfortable in the pocket, cannot allow his playmakers to get open and get the ball to them, then this offense will stall. And right now, that's not a good thing. If you're not able to get points on the board, if you're giving the ball back to Oregon State, it's not that Oregon State's going to run away with this game because they're going at a speed you can't catch up with. It's that if you can't score, Oregon State's going to score. It's just a matter of how much clock they eat up in the process. And eventually, you're just going to run out of time if you're losing too many possessions, if you're struggling to move the ball down the field. That's something that will really hurt Washington State's ability to win this football game. Explosive plays will play a big role in that. And Washington State's averaging 7 yards per play. Oregon State, this is where the efficiency comes in, 7.44. So both teams know how to make explosive plays. It's just that Washington State will do it at a more blistering pace. So the percentage of big plays in their offense will be significantly smaller than the one for Oregon State. So I'm not saying that for this game. I'm saying just coming into this game. You see two teams that are able to create big plays. They just do it in different styles. Oregon State is going to set up big plays by running the football. Play action will be a killer if Washington State is not disciplined. Washington State just has explosive athletes that can make a ton of big plays. Lincoln Victor has been a surprise and an explosive surprise for the Cougars. And Oregon State has guys like Damian Martinez that can not only play a role in running the football, but also in the pass game as well. And passing game is really what this comes down to. Both quarterbacks are able to throw the ball really efficiently. It's just a matter of who is the smarter player, who makes less mistakes. Right now, Cam Ward has not thrown an interception. DJ's thrown 2. But I think that you're looking at two quarterbacks that can make big plays. I think they can play in the big spotlight. And it just comes down again to which one makes fewer mistakes. Because right now, if you're looking at the numbers, Cam Ward throws a ton more passes. He's thrown 40 more passes already this year than DJ has. DJ is not going to be a spread quarterback that's going to just let it rip every single play. Oregon State wants to run the football. They want to set up the play action pass as much as they can, and they want DJ to make smart decisions and pick up first downs efficiently. Not that Cam Ward can't do that, and that's not what Washington State wants him to do. It's just that they like the approach of let's just throw a bunch of things at our opponent and see what sticks and see what we're able to do. What kind of plays can we exploit? What kind of matchups can we exploit? And going at that blistering pace, we'll put a lot of stress on that defense. We'll tire out that defense, and then that gives you a potential opportunity to make big plays and put more points on the scoreboard. And I think if you're looking for, again, week 4 has so many underrated matchups and so many explosive matchups and so many ranked matchups. There's so many good games this week that it's tough, honestly, to pick one over the other. Cam Ward and DJ Oyangale probably don't headline a lot of the slots that you see in the time slots for college football this week. They're definitely worth tuning in for because both have potential futures in the NFL. And this game could say a lot about where each one of them is going. I think that this is a team that relies, I think both teams, I should say, rely on their quarterbacks to make big plays, but they also have other playmakers. Oregon State, like I mentioned before, Damian Martinez, stud, absolute monster in the Pac 12, someone who is not getting a lot of love because he plays for Oregon State. And this is the thing that bothers me about college football is most people only pay attention to a handful of teams. And then there's other people that are saying, well, I really like college football, but then they don't watch certain games. They don't watch Damon Martinez run the football. They don't watch guys like James Rawls. How many people do you think outside of Oregon State or the Pac 12 know who James Rawls is? He is someone that can play a big impact on this defense. And against Washington State, a team that likes to throw the ball, him getting after the quarterback, he's probably not going to get a ton of sacks with how quickly Cam Ward gets the ball out. But if he can affect throws, if he can create pressure, that's going to make Cam Ward uneasy, and that'll give him less time to throw or make him think that he has less time to throw and get him out of the pocket, moving to look at some other on the run throw that's more difficult. That will play a big role as well. And that's just the tip of the iceberg for this defense, a defense that's absolutely loaded. And Washington State doesn't have as elite of a defense in terms of slowing teams down, but that does not mean they are not disruptive. Ron Stone Jr. is just one player you need to keep an eye on. He is someone who is an absolute wrecking ball at defensive end, someone who can definitely make big plays and slow down the opposing offense. And again, we talked about Oregon State is just going to swarm and suffocate any offense they play. Washington State is going for big plays. It's kind of hit or miss, live and die by these sacks and the tackles for loss. And if they're able to do that, that's going to make DJ Uyunglele uncomfortable. That will get the ball back to their offense, and you let Cam Ward cook. That's a great combination. We talked about Lincoln Victor having a big year so far amongst, even though you lost Sheffield already, you see a number of playmakers in that wide receiver group that can make big plays, a group that is ready to step up in a big moment, and finding a way to beat Oregon State would do exactly that. Right now, to me, I think Oregon State wins this game. Do not count out Washington State. I think this is a close game. I think Oregon State's defense is the difference. I think the fact that they're more consistent defensively shows me that there are more turnovers coming their way than for Washington State, especially with that offense line. Yes, Washington State's defense is very disruptive. Oregon State has one of the best offensive lines in college football. And unless Washington State's defensive line or front seven can do something to absolutely dominate that group, it's not going to affect DJ that much. And Oregon State will walk away with a win here, even if it's close. The Beavers definitely have what it takes as a more complete team to get the job done.